Right, hello, this is the branch blog for 0.2.3.3, the Act 1 items version 1. I will go through the bugs at the top and then I will go from just, well, everything's just top to bottom. So, firstly, some equipment logic pointing to wrong equipment. Yes, so I go to blueprints, character, protagonist. I go to equipment on the left. I can go to any of them really because they'll fix them. Unequipped. Imagine you've equipped something and you've already got something equipped. So it would need to unequip that initial and then re-equipped what you have. So this was, for chest it was working fine. So this is equipped chest, unequipped chest item, then equipped chest item, item chest. And then we have it for head, head's the same, and then unequipped head, equipped head. Well, accessory back and, well, accessory wrist, accessory belt, back, and I don't think head all still had unequipped item chest, because initially I made chest as venturing into making a very cool equipment widget, rather than just having one piece of equipment and you swap it out. Now we've got like chest, back, head, accessory wrist, accessory belt, and things like that. Well, it was just a missed step on my side. So fix that. Reload, reload, unloaded. Yeah, I, if I click on this where you see world settings there, if I go to partition, you'll see nothing. All the partitions off, and I had to do it for each one of the levels. Tried to do it programmatically through Python and it was just not having it. So I just decided, it's quicker for me to just double click each one of these levels, turn it off and save it. Partitioning is good if you have a really big world, or maybe, I don't know, it's like choice between like partitioning and streaming. It's a bit like, if you're looking forward in real life, you don't actually know if real life has been undrawn or unloaded behind the back of your head because you don't have eyes there. You believe it still exists, but it's like Schrodinger's cat, isn't it? You believe there's a cat in the box, but who's to say there is? You can't see inside the box, and it's that sort of mentality with, I guess, streaming and partitioning. But because this is just one item, this is 2D, everything's like level modular, so level items I can just essentially, I don't need to unload and reload. It shouldn't take too much of a performance hit. Level items in the sense that you have a bundle of items and those items are levels. So I'll try to speak more normal English. Fixed message widget save machine. Yeah, forgot to save machine. Still not updated it. Like in Resident Evil, it's a typewriter. In other things, it's thinking the thing. It's a tape recorder, like classic magnetic tape recorder thing. Um, so I've been reworking it, but I changed it from being a message. It's a text thing in the widget there, but instead of me calling it just message, because it's a very old thing I made and it wasn't properly named, I call it message text. And I tweaked it a bit. So this was still looking for message and that was still looking for message. So it's coming through an error. Um, One of those things that Unreal doesn't mention until when you first do F7. Is everything all right? Yeah, found it trailing down the line. Next one, create peaches. So there's a few items that are in Act 1 which are not in the prologue. So I was working on them. If I go to assets, I'll close blueprints, go to assets, items, interact. Let's get the full thing. Or you know what, let me get you the thumbnail version so then your eyes don't fall out. Background. Here we go. Right, so peaches. it's stamina, so it's here. There's a I don't want to spoil it, other games, but there's a thing in Silent Hill 1, and you can get a different ending, but you look at it and you think like, oh, it's sort of random items. It's that sort of thing I'm kind of going for. Like you just think, oh, well, it's just a consumable, but the for a particular person, it means something. So whether you have it or you don't have it results in different outcomes. Not not the end of the game. It's not pivotal on some peaches, but you know, uh, not. I don't like using the word meta, so it's not like meta game. It's more like just like quests within the game. And then there's like an empty version. This is in here because this is materials. Um, I don't actually have a deconstruct, but no. It'd be cool to do a deconstruct, but I'm one person, so I should probably limit the scope of my madness. So that's that. We'll come back to this in a second. Um, Act 1 note, Jackie's note. So in the end, I kept it as just note, but I piggybacked off. Essentially, I used this sprite again and this thumbnail, but for a different item because in the game world you would have seen that note. So saving a bit of time. Created metal spear weapon. So I've created the weapon. It doesn't have any functionality. It doesn't have any sprites, but the game understands it to be a main weapon equipment slot thing, which I'll showcase it. I'll showcase a bunch of what I'm talking here after I've done the last one. You see that right at the bottom of the list. I'll also do separate videos to deep dive into some because I don't want this to take like an hour and 20 minutes, and I think you'll really like the separate videos. Created the Cryopod. I called it Cryopod and then I've called it Cryo Chamber, but you see it's only art. It's not the actual thing. I'd call it like item at the end, and I'd put that as an initial if I was making an actual item. But I can show you the art. The art. Sorry, I'll try to pronounce properly. It is a. It's currently no interact, but we want it to be an interact no collect. So it's in here. So go in here, and you see nothing special. We've got closed, slightly opening or slightly closing, slightly opening, slightly closing more, open. And then from that you can do the flipbooks to go that way. Go left to right, right to left. Just keep it closed, keep it open. If I just show you a couple of flipbooks, stuff like that. So this one's closed. Oh no, these are sprites, sorry. Let me go to the flipbooks. So we've got close, and as I won't show you all of them, but you can imagine all the others work a separate way. Huh. See that line? Didn't You don't always see that in Photoshop because it's not always overlapped. I can fix that. But that's that. We have pre-polish stamina items, temp increase max stamina. Yes, I did a separate video on this, so I won't jump into it too much. But now, stamina items like food just increase, rather than increase your current stamina, increase your max stamina temporarily. Uh, you get some games where you can like increase your health by like one if you collect these separate items. I can't ever remember if Original Doom did that, but you kind of like a bit like Halo Shield Overload. It doesn't last forever, does it? It starts degrading. At least on the later versions, the overload starts ticking down like that, but with stamina. Empty peaches, yeah, we talked about that. I showed you that one. Strobing red lights. So let me pick an actual level that's got it. Barry bedroom. If I do get rid of partition, got that. We see right now it's got flicker and it's got flicker alt. So if I, let me just double check it. Turn it on. Ah, I know. Apologies. I think I made the color instance editable, thinking, like we might not always want it to be red. You might want it to be blue, you might want it to be green. So rather than, just essentially being sophisticated with it, there we go like that. So we've got this, which will flicker, but not this. So flicker when we play it like this. So there we go. So like that. So it flickers when the others are on, and then when the others are off, that stays on. It's like a defective thing. Look at you can see that there. It's the same thing, same sort of logic. Stays on, off, goes back to flickering. But then I created a red functionality, which I click that, permanently on, then it flickers red. You see? So I just do that. I won't deep dive into it because I'll already talk about the reworking of the lighting stuff further down. It saves us a bit of time. Barrier tape on doors. Yes, I will talk about the barrier tape and then I'll talk about the door rework when we get to the door rework task further down. So on a purely item creation mindset, it's an interact no collect, it's a door, it's a version 2. I created, so we've got rows of 140 by 140 pixels. So one row, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like equivalent rows. You'll see that some of the doors have tape on them, some of them don't. That's because realistically these two are the only ones that need tape from the story, but I thought it'd be cool to add them in as well. So that's that. I'll go into the blueprint stuff. It's pretty cool. If you might be able to skip to it. It's one of these. There we go. It's that one if you want to skip to it. I'll put the timestamps in. Communication rooms, research, communications, Barry. Yes, that relates to blueprints, items. Get rid of assets there. Data assets, law data assets. It is a digital document, and I haven't been able to fully populate it yet. So I've just put something here that because I need to expand this data asset to have like a text header, text body, and like do like line breaks. So like was it a /n to do like a line break, like pressing enter, or I just need to do an extra thing to do it. So I just need to chop it up, make it nice and pretty. So there's quite a bit of text in this one. So I've just put something CC Barry update this. So I've got a placeholder. Fridge key. I just closed that down as well. Items. No. Thumbnails. Background. Key. There you go. It's like a standard key. I've done normal maps for him as well. David's invite item. Yeah, David starts going a bit crackers later on, and yeah, it's called an invite, but you could tell it's like a ski card. Created recipes for, I don't think I've put, oh, I've done wooden spear, but I create recipes for wooden spear and metal spear. So if we go to data assets, items, equipment, this is a bug with Unreal. It will fix itself if I double click it. Wooden one first, isn't it? So there you go. I haven't created all the items that can be used for recipes yet, so I've just done part of it. So I've done like one medical tape, one tape, material. So if you had that, you go to the craft menu and you've got this. If we start from scratch, if you have acquired the recipe to create a wooden spear and you have one tape, then you can press C, go to the crafting menu and craft it. Going forward, the crafting menu will be like a workbench rather for some of it. Other bits you can make stuff on the fly, like just like in real life. You can fix some stuff with a workbench, you can fix some stuff without a workbench. You don't need it all the time. So the recipe for that, recipe for metal spear, again, same sort of process. I haven't created all the items. There's like a metal bar material that I need to make, and that'll kind of fit better than metal scrap. So it'll be like metal bar and tape, and maybe something sharp too. Well, you don't really need anything sharp, do you? I guess you could make metal sharp without a sharpening item. So that's that one. That's that one. Create communication tower radio. Do that. So we go to lore items, radio calls. This one. So uh, there's a sequence in the game where a prompt comes up on a PC. The prompt tells you to go to a particular radio frequency, and when you go to the particular radio frequency, this is the first thing that happens. So that's that one. Magnetic screwdriver. So yeah, just a screwdriver. There is a point in Act 1 where you need to unscrew a vent. Blank keycard. I've actually created the item as well for this as well, so it's a pickup. Blank keycard it uses the same thing as card, but when you hover over it, it has different description text and a different name in your inventory. Blank keycard is just like what you imagine. If you've ever worked at a place where they need to make you a keycard, it's blank at first. That create card key. Create the card there. If I just show you where they are, and then I'll show it in the showcase at the end of this how I use them. So we have, they're not lore, they are items. They're a quest. Then we've got invite, key, screwdriver. This one, blank key, is not a quest yet. The blank key card, but making that once you stop it being blank, it is a quest item, you see. So right now, don't worry about saying health watch because that isn't used for this. This is a multi-purpose data asset. So because it's down as quest rather than equipment accessory, then it won't flag, I believe. Well, it won't flag. One of these triggers works in relation with the category, with the equipment. But yeah, this is the item, so you can collect it. Yeah, that's basically it. Card reader functionality upgrade. Let me see what I've done. Let me go to the test level. Card reader. Let's click on there. Click on here. What did I do? Ah, yeah, card search. So I think I did a separate video about I created the card reader thing, and you just pressed E, and it went from like red sprite to green sprite, like locked to unlocked, and then you could use the door. That was a placeholder because obviously you wouldn't just press a button on a card reader and the door magically open. You'd need the card. So this does a pass to look at your items. If your item you've got, so I said it they share that card sprite and pickup sprite and thumbnail, but the name and the description is different. Well, so will the item class, because we know the item class it's a quest comms tower card. So if the unlocking card, in this case, if the unlocking card, the comms tower card, matches what's in your inventory. So you have that comms tower card class. Let's just call it item for simplicity. You have the item it's looking for in your inventory. Yeah. Then has key temporary variable. Break it, so stop what you're doing. We've found it. We don't need to keep searching. Just like in real life, you found what you need. You don't keep on looking for it. Break it off. Get that temporary variable has key bool true false, and then that goes to has key, and then it won't break. It won't break, will it? If you haven't found it, you're going to keep searching until you found the thing, or you never find the thing, and that's your outcome. So think of it just like in real life. That's the best way to figure this stuff out. Think of it in real life, what the approach would be. Granted, you wouldn't have temporary variables in real life, would you? You'd just be like, oh, found it, not found it. But I get that temporary variable, I feed it as an output, and then you go has key, and that sets the actual variable. So do you have the key? And you go, yep. Okay, then toggle locked. And obviously, if you haven't got the key, so if has the key false, then it's still locked. And then toggle the sprite, because you can like lock, unlock it. Currently, you can just unlock it, but that's that placeholder. So that's that one. Created wooden spear weapon. I will show you it simply so it looks for completeness, but yeah, you've already seen it, haven't you? Wooden spear. There you go. That's the weapon. I will collect it and you'll see it goes in on the showcase. Disable world partitioning for all levels. Yes, every single one, and by default it won't come back on, and we don't have streaming, so it's classic level loads up, load everything in the level sort of approach. So there'll be no deloads, there'll be no random things getting unloaded because it's out of range. Added locked functionality pass through to game instance. So on the door, I now pass it the locked variable to the game instance, and which then itself has a little locked variable. So you see it passes through and goes to the next level, and then that way it's not. I haven't tested it yet. Logically, if a door's unlocked, because it goes to the specific. Actually, it doesn't go to the specific door as of yet. So this is like it's needed for future functionality, but I don't think it's used. Like you open this door 17 levels ago, so this door is still open sort of approach. I haven't got anything to do anything with that value to catch that value and use it. I've just sent that value out. So that's done. Added tape functionality to door. Yeah, this will need a proper dive, like a V2 separate video, but very quickly, top level, we've now got extra sprites. So if I go to that default, look on the right, you see there is current door sprite, which is always empty at begin play, and we have door sprite tape and door sprite that's normal. We also have an array of classes of doors which can be taped. So those 4 things that were taped in that sprite list that we were looking at, only 4 doors has it. Those are those 4 doors. And then on construct, check tapeable. So is this current door, this class, out of the list of all the doors that can be taped, is this one of those doors? Yeah, okay, so it's tapeable, otherwise it's not. Same process as before, and then break it once you found your answer. Check taped, so is it tapeable? True, false, no. Then current door sprite is just source door sprite. Realistically, current door sprite could actually also be default door sprite. This is just a placeholder because it's pulling this one. So historic thing, so I can tweak that, but not right now. If it is tapeable, true. and it's not taped, then current door sprite is the not taped one. Well, look, yeah. Let me do it now actually, and then we're done. There we go. Then we're done. And it's fixed now. So if it's not taped, then it's the default door. If it is taped, if it is tapeable and it is taped, then it's the tape door sprite. Set that sprite to the actual door, and the current door sprite is now the taped one, and then locked to true. Logic being that if you tape something, it's locked. If you untape it, it's not necessarily unlocked, and you will see this in the showcase. So that's on construct, and then we just check exit. So originally I had like loads of extra stuff just dumped on begin play, and now check exit is just like, hey, is it an exit door? Okay, then reverse it. Otherwise, don't reverse it. This used to be relative rotation rather than weld rotation. I discovered that relative rotation essentially will just keep rotating it. You know, like it won't flip flop it back to door facing inside, door facing outside. No, it just flips it like an extra 180 degrees, flip each time, which sometimes is alright, sometimes isn't. So weld rotation means the rotation is based on what it's doing in the weld. So weld rotation, I bet it won't let me do it. No. But yeah, weld rotation is like this right now. So if we did 180 on the Z, it would be back to front, like we want with exit. So it's just having to change the different how it's rotated, but I won't do any more deep dive into that. That's how it's taped. And then, yeah, if you hold the button long enough, you can untape it and you get a message prompt. I'll show you the message prompt at the showcase. If you don't hold it long enough, it just goes, it's still taped. And then if it's not locked and it's in range and it's not taped, which for it to be unlocked, it would have to not be taped. So you've already removed the tape, you see. So you remove the tape, then unlock it, then it's unlocked. So you'd never unlock it and still have the tape. So after that's all done and dusted, then it just functions like a normal door. Upgraded door start logic. Yes, it now works off construction script, which I never used to use. I used to put everything on either a particular function like begin play, or an overlap, or a custom event, or an interact. Realize that's really helpful to use construction script. So I've started using that. So I've done that with door and I've done it with lights as well. Made door BP the master door BP. Originally, this was the first door that was made. So I called it door BP, and all the other doors were children of this door. However, that should make it master door blueprint, and this should be replaced. What was that door BP? That was the parent, but not graded the master. Needed its own replacement. So I'll show you what that looks like. We've now got a master door, and then if I go to interact no collect, because you don't collect doors, door BP is no longer the parent of these. Door BP is itself a child of the master. So just proper inheritance. Also means that there's never going to be a case where I drag in door BP, change a bunch of values, it changes it for all the children, and I'm like, oh no, I only meant it for this door, because now they are all individual children, self-contained from the master. Migrate protagonist door, yep, like I said, from master door BP to door BP. I swapped door BP to master, and then all the placeholders, if you don't have something called door BP in its usual place, so if it can't find the thing it's looking for in its usual place, it will use your renamed version. But you could tell when you look on the top right, that would say like master door BP. So I just swapped them. The second part of making it a true child. I'm on the cycling bike while I'm talking. If you're wondering why I sound like I'm out of breath a little bit. Multitasking. Removed v1 message widget functionality. Yeah, from the NPCs. Yes. Originally there was a message that popped up and it goes like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And then I created the interact functionality, which then pops up a little thing, and you can press which button you want to press on the keyboard to talk to them and communicate. I still had that message that pops up and goes, "Hey, how are you doing?" Temporarily from the past. So I just cut it out of the begin play. So now it just works off purely off the interaction component. So the other widget, and then I cut it out here. NPCs don't need it anymore. So that's just got chopped out. Added the message widget into John. You see it's a component on the top left. And now on begin play, get that component, get its widget, cast it as a message widget, and that becomes a message widget variable, which then means I can get text to pop up with John. I've done it on world, so on screen. So that means if I look left, I press E, and then I look right, the message will keep going. Rather than, I think if I did it on world, in the way it's currently set up, if I look E, if I look left, press E, it goes a message like it's locked, and then I look right, that message will potentially disappear. But with screen, it'll just move it to the other side. You'll see soon enough. Message widget visuals and animations. Yeah, I tweaked it to look nice. Show you properly very soon, unless you want to skip to it. Communication message. You see, I made it that sort of color. Going for that sort of approach, a bit like the crafting menu buttons. You see, I'm trying to keep similar sort of color scheme. This one's better though. I should pinch this and make it exactly like this. But that's sort of what I'm going for. Rather than just like the grey and white cookie cutter, has this guy just copied this sort of mentality. Give it a bit of uniqueness. Enhanced door BP interactivity. Yeah, I've already gone over it, haven't I? But now there's responses that go to your message widget that I've just showed you. So if you're in range, true, and you've held the interact button for greater than half a second, true. Well, if you haven't held it for greater than half a second, then it checks to see if it's locked, and it gives you the it's locked anyways or it's locked response depending on if it's taped. So this show message goes to the protagonist widget that I just showed you. Protagonist is John. Apologies, I will change it all to John BP at some point. There you go. You see, it's relation. If you're in range and you've held the button for greater than half a second, and then it's taped, and you've held it for greater than 1 whole second, then it removes tape. But you see, let me restart that last bit. If you're in range and you've held the button for greater than half a second, then you get a little message saying removing tape or removing. There you go, removing tape. Then if you're still holding onto it for greater than a second, it finishes its removal of the tape and removes the tape, which will then mean that the door is either locked, well, the door is still locked, but the tape is gone, so the sprite changes to the non-taped sprite. It'll make it's more straightforward when I show you it, the visual showcase. Place act on items in the world. So yeah, I just chucked chuck them in. So we've got like the cryo chamber in, and yeah, why not? So you see the cryo chamber things there, and this room's been messed up a bit. We have that peach pot stuff. Remember I said there, it's in the guide post saying there's a few other bits and pieces. I haven't put the key cards in yet. I haven't put in extra weapons yet because I want to actually build in the functionality. If we go to the communications room, you see now there's some separate computers there. The arrows separate. They can hold separate things. They're different passwords, usernames, etc. We've got item to collect. We've got the radio to collect in the communications room. The communications tower is I've just chucked a couple of desks in for now. Nothing else. I will need to have a separate sprite here for like an open vent and a closed vent, potentially, or I'll have an open and closed side in actual vent that you go through. So like left is open, right says, hey, you need a screwdriver, and then it'll do that removing, unscrewing, something like that. I'll probably do that. Place items underneath beds. I tweaked the beds to get rid of that bar thing that connects it to the wall because it just looks a bit jarring. And then I realised, what would people normally do if they had space under the bed? Well, they'd put stuff there. So I need to create like transparent, semi-transparent storage boxes, just like in real life, that people put under, but make it a bit more futuristic. But you see, like Barry's got a bunch of books under there, and Jackie has some like more clothes. Just I haven't created a lot of clutter assets, so when I get clutter assets, I can put more stuff in like there. Yeah, tidied up master point light. Yeah, it's just a bit messy. So you can see here, like now, we've still got it working on tick for the flicker, but it's more straightforward, and the bool is actually fed into the flicker, and we've now got like initialize and toggle, so I've put them in folders. Initialize lights does the on and off, and then we've got initialize the flicker. We've got the colors, which are stored there in instance editable. We've got the ability to change to the alternate flicker color, like that. Same for spotlight. Let me just get the asset because it'll probably take too long. I'll have to load up another level for it. So we want interact, no collect, lights, spot. No, we just want the master, don't we? Master spotlight. Same thing. Yeah, that's basically it. I've kept it the same. See, the same sort of logic. Flicker, lights. It's just spot rather than point. So close all to the right. Close that one. So that's that. Tidied up desk lamp. Desk lamp was a bit choppy. A similar issue where it just, when you made something in the past and you needed to tidy it up. So I just had to tweak things. Like if I go to the spotlight needs to be movable on mobility. Meanwhile, the collision, we want it to be static, and the sprite is static, and then just made the collision range a little bit bigger. And now the desk lamp is turned on and off with L, which I believe it was originally, but I think I must have swapped it accidentally some time back to being E. There's E interact, and then there's L interact. L interact on your keyboard is for lights. Just in situations where like a light switch is near a door, it then doesn't need to do some sort of some clever thing to go, did you mean the light switch? Did you mean the door? Now there'll be no miscommunication. Tweaked bed visuals, so just showed you them, but I can show you the list. So they are assets, they are items, they are no interact items. Bed version 2, raw. Hang on, I just chopped off the top. And yeah, Unreal really does a bad job of showing what normal maps look like. It doesn't look like that at all. But that's that. So you wanted a showcase. I'm going to showcase a level to show you the door functionality, the keycard functionality, and I've already showed you the lights, haven't I? So, oh, and the message functionality, yes, but you'll see that with the door. So, right, let me explain. This used to have a message thing that would pop up. Now we press E, and it goes to the interact widget, which is this thing. We go to the door, we press E, it's locked anyways. You know, because normally you think, oh, well, can't I just remove the tape and then open the door? Why is this stopping me? So you press E once, it's locked anyways. You hold E, removing tape. I press E, it's locked. Because you see, it's still locked. I go to the keycard, doesn't do anything. I press E, now my inventory, hover on it, and we've got, it's coded to sea level comms tower access. I press E, goes green, we can use it. Additionally, because it's working on construction script, it will show it in real time to a degree. Like the macro won't work. The macro probably would work if you chucked it in the construction script, but like flickering lights, I can't test that without running it, but right now. But you see, if I do locked, I can't actually untick locked because it's taped. But if I unclick taped, and then I can undo locked. If I click taped again, you see the both on, you see? But I can't undo because it makes no sense to tape it and then not lock it, if you see where I'm coming from. So this is because the construction script, and then go like that. See, it's all showing it in real time now. That's because the construction script it's on construction script rather than begin play. So, but you can lock it. Obviously, you can lock it without tape because you know you don't tape your door shut when you go to work, do you? So it's locked, and we go okay, go like that, go like that, and then that. I also believe I've set up the functionality where even if you use the keycard, let's say we get the card, we open it. Oh, I didn't. It's not set up properly. I've done an edge case. It's not an edge case, is it? It might happen, but I thought I set that up. I didn't. Okay, there's a little bit of work for me to do to not allow you to use the door without removing the tape first, because it is unlocked, granted. But yeah, I just need to get you to hold E to remove the tape and then press E to open the door. So I'll raise that bug, but that's it today. That's this branch. Next is I'm going to work on the AI. I'm going to really tweak it, make them less kind of like skating on ice, more kind of real. And the usual thing where I go through, I'll go and create the extra level static meshes. So this is Act 2 and Act 3. So I'm going to have all the levels made, essentially. Might not be textured, won't have the items, but the levels will be there. We can pass through the levels. We have a skeleton of the entire game. Some of the levels are outside, so yeah, the terrain will be different. The terrain won't necessarily be flat, so I'm going to have to play around with that. That'll be fun. That's like Act 3 stuff. Bugbuster, multi-directional sequences. Yes, again, said it a few times. Octopath Traveler, the dev, did it an Unreal tutorial, or like, well, I guess like a showcase of how they did it for their 2D items, 2D character. I'm going to replicate that. Normal maps for John. Yeah, there's no normal maps for, no proper ones for John yet. NPCs need and enemies need all their sprites made for like walking, blinking, running, fighting, dying, injured. Not so much the NPCs with injured and fighting, and like, you're not shooting NPCs and the damage and they change the sprites, but you will be with enemies. So that sort of stuff. So that's like diffuse map, normal maps for it. So I've got to color all in the normal maps for them. Then migrate those normal maps and texture maps or diffuse maps into sprites. Those sprites I will then stack together to create animations. And then there's Act 2 and Act 3 items. Migrate all input action to player controller. Migrate all widgets to the main widget, except from the message widget, which you see stays with John, because I was walking around and it was moving the widget with me. But I was looking left, I was looking right, and it was reacting. So I'll keep that. I'll keep the message widget for myself. I'll keep the interaction widget on the NPCs, but the rest of the widgets should be on the main widget and just be hidden or shown depending on context. So you go to a computer, show that hidden widget, for example. More music. Start creating the puzzles. There's puzzles in the game, but I haven't actually got any puzzles in this game like what I've made yet. So I'm going to create a widget that allows you to do puzzles. I've done a widget that allows you to work as a keycard and a radio and a computer. So puzzle really shouldn't be that difficult, genuinely. So there'll be like movement puzzles. So, a bit like Tetris, or the things where you got to move it all. I think Bioshock has them. System Shock, uh, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Dead Space. Those all those sort of like The Evil Within, all those sort of puzzles in various forms. So prologue, then Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 puzzles. I don't even think I've got any puzzles for 2 or 3 yet, so I do need to have a think. Life in game items, so just breathe a bit of life into them, like, rather than everything looking real clean cut, or, like there's, obviously I'm not going to really be able to do dust very well, am I? But Resident Evil and a couple of other games use sprite animations, and they kind of like showcase like moths going around lights or dust. There won't really be any moths in space, but there'll certainly be dust, like dead skin cells, things like that. Just a bit more world stuff to it, and specifically life into game items. Things like being able to collect, or the dormitory beds, you can press E to tidy them up or untidy them, or you press L to put on the dormitory light. You can turn on the light to a desk lamp. You can unscrew the light bulb if you can reach it and press backspace to any light, spot or point light. Some of the lights can now flicker. You just make it a bit more reactive to a bit look like they've have some life breathed into them. So that's basically that. I'm also doing a year 2. I guess what would you call it? Like a year 2 retro, like I did for the year 1. It's got a separate playlist. So the year 2 retro happens just before the 1st of April, which is the start of year 3. So you'll see year 2 retro videos coming up, the AI sense video coming up. I'll change this to March now, it's starting in March. And yeah, that's it. I'll also do a deep dive on the door, like the door upgraded functionality once I fix it, to force you to use take the tape off even if you've unlocked it with a keycard. Yeah, thank you for your time, and I'll see you later.